Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at some more news items when it comes to War Thunder. Gaijin has released another devblog for the MB326K, and also we have a bunch of monthly decals that have come out for November. So it's going to be really nice to go over those, since at least for me, it's really nice to have these little things that you can focus on instead of worrying about the overall grind. So in this video, we'll go through both of them. Maybe we'll have a chat afterwards about some other things too. Who knows? It depends how I'm generally feeling. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get started. So the first piece of news is about the MB326K. This is a devblog about it, basically talking about how it is an Italian strike aircraft and it's going to be at rank 5. The MB series has always been pretty interesting to me, especially when they started adding these strike aircraft and also trainer aircraft. I was kind of waiting for this one to come to the game, because it's one of those which is actually quite stunning to look at and also has a decent amount of armaments which I feel fit the role itself. One of the issues with a lot of these types of vehicles is they have way too good armament for their actual speed and also maneuverability, where this vehicle, with its rockets, with its bombs, with its lack of CCIP, but also with its 30mm, I feel like it's a little bit more balanced across the place in terms of actually playing it, and I think for me that is quite important. The vehicle's history is also interesting. When the world's air forces were actively transitioning into jet technology in the 1950s, Italian company Armament, under the leadership of designer Ermanno Bazzucchi, proposed a compromise between specialized trainer aircraft and converted fighters. Developed in 1953, the MB326 project combined the comfortable controllability of trainer aircraft with the combat potential of a light attack aircraft. The prototype first took to the skies on the 10th of December 1957, equipped with a British Viper ASV-8 engine with 795 kgf of thrust. As early as 1960, the deliveries of the pre-production batch to the Italian Air Force began, with large-scale production following shortly after in 1962. The basic version for the Italian Air Force had no armament, but the MB326B export modification, fitted with 6 underwing pylons, became quite a success internationally. In total, around 800 units of various modifications were produced, including licensed production in Brazil, South Africa, and also Australia. The version that we're getting, I'm pretty sure, is the one that ended up in South Africa. And also the other thing to mention is this is a user-made aircraft. So this was actually created by a War Thunder player. It's Nova. Good old Nova 29. If you don't know who Nova is, he's the guy behind a lot of different vehicles actually, including the HE219 and even the Arado the Arado hydroplane that was added a little bit ago. He's one of the most prolific who uses the kind of War Thunder creator model thing, and it's really nice to see another vehicle that he's worked on. Now, the MB326K has access to Napalm, it has access to 250s and 500s, and also it has access to Defers, which is going to be really nice. Technically, you can bring 4 Defers, which I think will be very, very good. And then also you can bring some rockets, and if you want, some 7.62mm miniguns to be able to fill the sky with just a bunch of lead. The vehicle won't be the fastest, but it should be pretty maneuverable, and also, at a BR, that makes sense, and that is one of the most important parts for me. As somebody who's played a lot of these types of aircraft, the Alpha Jet, for example, is a very similar jet to this. This one will be a lot lower BR than it because it has a lot less engine power, but the Alpha Jet itself fits really nicely around kind of like the 8.7 area, but when you get the higher Alpha Jet, like the TH, wow, is it really rough to play. And then you have like the Su-25s that unfortunately have the same issue, especially in air. The A-10s also kind of have the same issue where they don't really fit because they have such a big imbalance between their armament and also their actual, capabilities to fly around the place, where I feel like this vehicle, the 326, and also along with the L-39, which is in a very similar place to this, actually has a lovely position to play. So I'm looking forward to this, especially since when when it comes to War Thunder, a big narrative that we've had over the period of time is that there aren't any new vehicles. They're all just copy pastes and everything's just kind of the same. Well, this one, it's completely unique. You know, it's a completely unique vehicle, and it's also made by a War Thunder player. That's pretty awesome, and a pretty cool story behind it as well. So another thing that's happened today is the release of the monthly decals for November. So you can find them right here at the bottom of the decals list. All of the other decals have been spread across where they are from. So if you have ground them out, you basically keep them forever. That's why the monthly decals are pretty fun. These ones are going until the 8th of December, as you can see. So you have a month to grind all of them. Some of them are ones which were here in the past, which is why you can see I already have them, and some of them are new. It's basically a half and half scenario, which I think is pretty nice. So let's get started and have a look at them and how to grind them out. We first of all have the Panserbataljonen emblem. This one is just mission score with ground vehicles at rank 3. So if you grind out any of the other decals, you'll get this one too. Obviously, it being an air event right now instead of a ground event is a little bit annoying, but with the new update coming out, you could maybe put some resources towards ground to be able to grind some of the stuff out. So yeah, you have the Panserbataljonen emblem, which is right here. Also, you have the good old 7th BCC emblem. Now, this is one specifically for light tanks for France. You have to defeat 40 players to be able to get this crazy penguin with a knife. This one really shouldn't be too bad. France has a lot of very, very nice light tanks. If you haven't experienced the French ground tech tree, highly recommend it. At the lowest area of rank 3, you have the AMX-13 FL11, which is fine. You have the EBR as well. But then all of this line here will be able to get you some good kills. The only one which is a little bit rough to play, I'd probably say, is the VBCI, just because of, you know, not having a lot of firepower, but everything else has good guns and will do good damage. There's also some premiums as well, which are quite nice, the EBR 1963, the AMX-13 SS11, so yeah, you'll be able to get through it very easily if you just play any of these vehicles here. There isn't a single vehicle here where I say, this isn't a great vehicle, apart from the VBCI and maybe the FL11, but even then, you know, the vehicle is designed as a flanker and works well as that. So yeah, just play through any of the French light tanks and you'll have a great time. Then we have Personal Motive of Lieutenant Shuho Yamana. So this one, Japan, air vehicles, missions played. So all you have to do is play missions in air vehicles in Japan. If you don't want to do this in air battles, you can do this in naval and ground as well. You just have to finish the mission in a rank 3 or above air vehicle. So you could actually do it in ground by playing a lot of like rank 3 vehicles and then getting in a rank 3 plane at the end. And as long as you finish the mission in it, it works. For me, I'm probably going to use this just to grind out the Thai part of the tech tree. I've already started playing the F5T SCU, but yeah, generally just playing anything rank 3 and above will be great. They have a lot of great options to Japan nowadays, so you can play any of them. By the way, even though it's a Japanese decal, you can use anything in the Japanese tech tree. So for example, I will be using this, the F5T Tigris SCU. This is technically a Thai vehicle, but it works because it's in the Japanese tech tree. They haven't actually distinguished between the types of countries yet for that type of thing. So yeah, this will actually work, which is nice. Then the next one we have the King. You have to play 3 missions and also Sweden finish the mission in a ground vehicle, places 1 to 3. So 3 battles isn't that much in terms of it. One of the cool things as well right now with the battle pass is we have the tenacity of the Bergeslieri, which is designed around getting some kills and also playing missions. And then also you have the Triumph of the Winner, if you unlock this at level 21 yet. Basically, this is place 1 in the team 25 times, and you can get access to it. So for options, when it comes to getting places 1 to 3 for Sweden. There's quite a lot of them, even at rank 3 itself. The Delatorn is generally quite nice, but I think the M24 at the moment would actually be a really nice pick. The M24 plus the the Panzer 4, and then maybe some aircraft as well, or the SAV if you have it. But even stuff like 8.0 is very strong for Sweden right now, and also 9.3 and 9.0, the 8.7. Like, this area is just a king BR for Sweden. You could pretty much play any higher BRs and you'll have access to some really nice lineups. So I would generally just say focus around this area because you have a lot of unique vehicles, but also you have a lot of power with the Centurions, the Cheese Wedges, and also the others. And it's also, places 1 to 3. You just have to do it 3 times in a month. I think you'll be able to do it if you just generally grind through that area. So we have the 154th Groupo emblem. This is an Italian emblem, and mission score 15,000 with air vehicles. So basically, you just have to turn up, you have to shoot things, and you have to get mission score with air vehicles. We have the event right now, the Flapjack. So grinding out any Italian vehicles will give you this. We also, at the same time right now, is this still available? It might not be available right now, but there was Italy's National Day. We need 3,000 mission score to get the decal. But yeah, you can just play anything once again. Just use this as a general grinding decal and just play a bunch of stuff. If you want specific options, G56 is really nice. Reggiani 2005. There's a lot of the jets which are quite fun nowadays. F-84 is in a nice place. The Sagittario is not in a nice place, but it's super fun to fly. And then also you have some of the other ones which kind of sit around the place. This line is generally pretty well balanced and will work very well. So the Hungarian stuff. But yeah, generally just play through the tech tree and you'll be able to get that. 15,000 mission score isn't that much when you break it down over a month, which is what you do. Then you have the Chinese Eye. This is, even though it's Chinese, it's actually for Britain, and it's ground vehicles. Players defeated 50. So you just have to shoot things. Generally, it's not, that hard to do. Just shoot things in the face, and you'll get access to the good old Chinese Eye. So work on that, and everything will be good. The 131st Air Brigade, the Great Red Eagle. You have to place 1 to 5 with Chinese vehicles 5 times in aircraft. So this is probably easily done in the air modes, but also at the same time, if you want to do it in ground, you can do, and then just make sure you spawn in an aircraft at the end. China has a lot of decent aircraft around rank 3 and 4, mainly the American ones, like the P-51D and K. The P-47s are also very good. P-38's quite nice at 4.7. And remember, it's placed 1 to 5, which pretty much is like half the team. So all you need to do is maybe get 1 kill, maybe a few ground targets. If you want to like power grind it, you could probably do it with the IL-10, just like hitting ground targets. But generally, I feel like it's probably best to grind through the tech tree to be able to get to the higher echelons in order to kind of like grind it out. That would be a much better idea to do instead of, having a situation where you're using stock vehicles at high tiers to get stuff. But yeah, if you focus on these lines, you'll be fine. Just stay away from stuff like the LA9 and also maybe the MiG-9s. They're not in a great place at the moment, but everything else in this area is, so it'll work very well. Then we have the emblem, the Schwertfisch. This is just naval to damage to naval targets, 15,000 with coastal vessels for Germany. So just play whatever in the German coastal area. You could use the SF-40s for this. I think they're ranked 3 nowadays. But yeah, just turn up and shoot things. 15,000 naval damage targets. You can literally get this done in a game if your matchmaking is good enough. And if not, you'll get it done in 2 or 3 games. Like, this really doesn't take long. So just, knuckle down and get her done. The next one is the Eternal Flame. And the Eternal Flame, you have access to the personal marking of the USSR ground vehicles. So all you got to do is play missions again with USSR and, finish in a ground vehicle. There's plenty of very powerful lineups for the USSR. It's one of those which is pretty insane in terms of it. So I would definitely say just kind of grind through this and play whatever. You don't have to worry too much since it's only 60% battle activity. It's not a crazy high number, but, obviously you have to think about it a little bit. Then players defeated, super slick, with rank 3 and above helicopters for USA or USA. So this is obviously going to be one of the hardest ones for people because, you know, helicopters are not as played as others. You can play any of the helicopters in the tech tree. So if you have access to any of them work. The starter one, the H1G, isn't that bad. If you have access to the more rockets, you can use this to kind of rush in conquest battles and have a pretty good time with it. And then once you get to the later ones, you get access to the missiles. The problem is on a lot of them, you actually have to grind out the missiles, which makes it not very fun to play them. You can see here on this one, you have to do the same too. So if you're looking for a vehicle which is going to make it easy to kind of grind through, you're not really going to find it. You can see here, even with the Apache, it's just M247s in order to do it. So the actual stock grind for this thing is going to be really rough. You can see here, this one doesn't get access to any missiles either. So yeah, you're just stuck with the rockets. So if you don't have any of them ground out like me, just play the H1G and get access to the M2000A1, because then, as I said, you can bring more of the rockets and then you can kind of spam them at the start of battles. But generally, it's going to be rough unless you have one of the premiums or you're going to grind one out in the heli PvE. At the end of the day, these types of things, they also have a ×2 modifier in RB. So all you need to do is get 10 kills. So it's not like a huge amount. It can just be super frustrating playing these vehicles because, as you know, we've talked about before, they're not really great at the low tier. And at the high tier, they're very good, but actually grinding them out can be a bit of a pain. So yeah, that's how to do all of the monthly decals. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.